called this press conference this morning as a result of the looming package that will be coming forth in Congress next couple of weeks on the energy plan. And Representative Farley, Representative Sinema, Representative Campbell, and myself all had a trip for the National Caucus of Environmental Legislators in Portland the past 2 days. Let me introduce myself. I'm Representative Ableser from Tempe. And we're coming out today to talk about that drilling alone, and drilling is truly not the answer, that we must reduce our dependence on foreign oil, and we as a nation must step up to the plate to really take away the heavy burden that rests on consumers across this nation. We were the nation that built a tremendous amount of wealth based on the consumption of fossil fuels, and now we must be the country that extends our wealth with the innovation of renewable energies, and that's why we're out here today. To start, I would like to introduce some of our attendees that are here in support of the issues that we're bringing forth. We have from the Arizona League of Conservation Voters both Paul Walker and Ken Clark. We have from the Arizona Solar Energies Industry Association Michael Neary, and from Solar Alliance and American Solar Electric Tom Alston. And from the Sierra Club, we have both Rob Smith and Sandy Barr joining us today. And these players in the community have been very influential in implementing strategies for potential policy across the nation and here in Arizona. But to begin, I'd like to introduce Representative Chad Campbell, who's going to brief us a little bit on WCI. Oh, Kyrsten first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll introduce Representative Kyrsten Sinema from Phoenix, who's going to talk a little bit about the congressional bill, what's going to be brought forth, and then we'll hear from Representative Farley and then Representative Campbell.
Thanks, Representative Ableser. I'm going to keep this short because clearly climate change is real. We can feel it right here today. I want to talk a little bit about our views as legislators here in Arizona about the congressional legislation that Nancy Pelosi will be introducing very soon. We do understand that this legislation will emphasize creating renewable energy sources for our country and ensuring that we're creating green jobs to transition our country into the 21st century. We want to emphasize the importance of not focusing on oil and not relying on drilling for the energy plan for America's future. We have a couple reasons for this. We all know that the oil supply, not only in our country but around the world, is very limited. And if we don't start transitioning to clean, renewable energy sources, we will not only see a continued increase for our costs for consumers, but we'll also see a decrease in availability of long-term energy solutions for our country. The Union of Concerned Scientists recently conducted a poll of Western states, and in Arizona, the results were pretty outstanding. We found that 90% of Arizonans believe that we should reduce our dependency on oil. This is stark evidence that Arizonans in particular do not support increased drilling as a long-term solution to our energy needs in this country. We do have ideas about what should be in this legislation and what Congress should focus on. Number one, Arizonans want to require automakers to create more efficient cars that pollute less and use less gasoline. 89% of Arizonans said that they fully support a piece of legislation that would require automakers to increase fuel efficiency using technology that we have already developed and has been in existence for well over 20 years. We also know that Arizonans support the new use of clean alternative fuels and development of new technology, including a financial investment in creating those new and renewable sources of energy. 94% of Arizonans, fully 94% of Arizonans, believe that we should spend money at the federal level to invest in new technologies and develop clean and renewable sources of energy. We call on Congress to create legislation that reflects the views of Arizona voters. We want to reduce our dependence on oil. We want to do that by no more drilling and instead focus our funds and our investments on developing clean fuels and clean technology that really prepares us for the future, and to hold oil companies and auto companies to account for what they're doing. We know that Arizonans support this. We know that Americans support this. And we call on Congress to develop a bill and pass a bill to send to the President that does the same thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Sinema. Next, we have Representative Steve Farley from Tucson, who's going to address us on elections. And he was also a member of the National Caucus of Environmental Legislators that joined us in Portland.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks for being here today. I think it's very clear to the people of Arizona that our continuing addiction to oil has to stop. Every time they go to a gas station and fill up their tanks and spend money that they should be spending on their families or elsewhere on oil company profits, they realize this isn't going anywhere. It's time for us to change our entire economy's addiction to oil so that we can build up new renewable energies and create a totally new base for our society as we move forward into the 21st century. We cannot continue using the same old solutions to new problems. We've got to create new solutions to new problems, and the good news is they're out there. Congress needs to act right now in a number of different ways, as the Sierra Club has been saying this morning and will continue to say. We need to be able to extend those tax credits for solar so that we can take advantage of the solar industries who are now not investing in new solar projects because they don't have the certainty that those credits will be able to continue. We have to invest in that. And next year, Congress will be reauthorizing the federal transportation spending through the Transportation Reauthorization Renewal. That's something we need to work on together now to make sure that that Transportation Act includes strong firewalled spending for public transportation projects all over the country. The American people and the people of Arizona have said very clearly that they want new choices to get around. They don't want to be handcuffed to their car for the rest of their lives. We're going to have to change the way we operate, and the good news is that we can improve our economy and save money as we do it. Congress is key to doing that, and above all, I want every voter in this state and in this country to be asking of all their candidates at every level, whether it's Congress or the legislature or the president, what are you going to do to stop our dependency on oil? What specifically are you going to do to stop our dependency on oil? And their vote should depend on their answer to that question. So I challenge all voters to do that, and we will end up electing the leaders that will actually take us into this challenging century and help us to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Farley. Next up, we have Representative Chad Campbell from Phoenix, who will talk to us about what we did in Portland and the looming compact with the Western states, and it's the Western Climate Initiative.
Thank you, Representative Ableser. As Ed mentioned, I'm here to talk about the Western Climate Initiative. The legislators that are here today, we just returned from a trip to Portland last night, meeting with other representatives from other states and the other partners in the Western Climate Initiative. And I cannot stress to each and every one of you the importance of this initiative and this undertaking that we are about to embark on as a state. What we learned while we were in Portland, it was very clear what we learned while we were in Portland and at this conference. The threats facing the West are more severe than most of the other regions in the country and perhaps in the world regarding our dependency on oil, regarding climate change, regarding pollution. We already face severe shortages of water in the West, and it will only continue to get worse if we do not start addressing this issue now. And we have to come up with a balanced energy plan, and we have to work at a state and regional level, as the WCI will do, to address this situation.